everybody, Dan Illman, Marcus Hersh, getting set to preview the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Mile at beautiful Santa Anita on Saturday. Before we take a look at the field, remember that DRF has 3 separate Breeders' Cup packages waiting for you at shop.drf.com. All your favorite handicapping products, low prices, shop.drf.com. Here's the field for the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Mile. They're here from everywhere, Marcus. Japan, Europe, some excellent horses based in North America, a wide open field, a great betting race.
Is a wide open field a great betting race? Don't you like to feel something solid behind your opinion?
Yes, but you have a 30-to-1 shot on top, so that's why you're here.
Oh God, that horse. Okay, so I have been all over the place on this mile. I thought it was really good for a while. Then I thought it was not really good, and now I'm just like, I don't understand this race at all. I think it's a really tough race. I think there are a bunch of throwouts that I don't give any chance to, but then there are like 6 or 7 horses that I think could win.
Let's begin with the pace of the race, because there really aren't any blazers in here. I do wonder if Win Carnelian is going to try to zip to the top at a giant price. There are some horses here with speeds. Good old Master of Foxhounds, maybe speed plays more, going a marathon distance.
Think he can keep up at a mile.
Exalted is tactical, but he's far from a horse that really wants to go to the early lead. I think the pace will be fair. Maybe Astronomer?
Astronomer, when he went to the front, he faded. And when he won, they let him sit off a horse. My guess is they don't want him on the lead. It's Ryan Moore riding the horse. He's not going to be super aggressive on him. Exalted, I think he's going to run out for position, but I don't think he's going to get there. Win Carnelian is the one who might really be sent, but I don't know what kind of form that horse is in anyway. I mean, maybe he can't even get there. I know they're going to go forward with Maj. They don't mind if she leads. She's happy leading. I think they would like to have her in front. If she is in front, I'm gonna guess average pace.
Let's talk about Cheryl Spite down on the inside, who of course was second in this race at a giant price, and then the great Roger Atfield got very aggressive. He ran this horse on dirt.
Roger Atfield?
Yes,
I know he trained the horse.
Oh, so the connections, let's say.
There you go.
Very aggressive, running this horse on dirt. I have to be honest with you. I thought his Dubai Turf was an excellent effort to finish 4th that day.
That's one of the best American performances in a Dubai Turf race ever, and in a very legitimate field over a 9-furlong trip that I think is a tick beyond his best. I think if he runs that race, he wins. That's probably the best single. Well, I mean, Songline has done some good stuff too, but among like the run-of-the-mill contenders, I think that's better than their baseline. There's a concern that he's a horse for Keeneland. Two of his best 2 North American races were at Keeneland. And Keeneland is a specialist horse, as you know. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But the fact that he ran that race in Dubai says to me that he can take his show on the road. You know what course I don't think he likes, Dan? His home track, Woodbine. Just doesn't run his best races there.
And that's where he's been his last 2.
And I think that Roger Atfield called him a great trainer. I think he's a great trainer. I'm sure they had this race in mind all year. He's a guy that doesn't mind losing and having stepping stone races. I haven't been able to watch his works, but they're certainly fast enough. I'd like he's drawn on the rail. There are a lot of contenders way outside. I mean, maybe he won't get through, but maybe he will. I think he's got a legitimate chance.
They certainly could have run him over his favorite turf course, the Coolmore Turf Mile, and they decided to go here. I think you're absolutely right. His last 2 races were preps for this. Gina Romantica is a hard-charging filly who just took the measure of her stablemate in Italian in the race we're going to show you, the First Lady Stakes. In Italian was loose. Gina Romantica got a late start to this year for Chad Brown, kicked her down late. I like that she was able to stay within range when an Italian tried to click clear to a 23 3 third quarter. I think Gina Romantica is kind of a live long shot if she gets a trip.
I was swayed by my conversation with the trainer. Well, I mean, she's another horse, same thing, same question. Her 2 best races are at Keeneland, by far. She ran fine in the Beverly D at Secretariat at a distance probably beyond her best, and while she was still coming into form. But her last race was like so much better than anything she's ever produced. I don't think In Italian is quite the same horse she was at her very peak. So it wasn't like she ran her down a year ago, but still, to run down that horse, like through a moderate pace, Gina Romantica finished about as fast as a horse can finish in that race, which is a concern because she's coming back relatively quick by Chad Brown standards. That's what he said. He just flat out said, and maybe I'm getting cold watered. He said he was talking to the owner about the matriarch on December 3rd as a nice spot to let her recover and come back around. between that and the Keeneland thing, I came here thinking like this horse is going to be a price. She's going to be overlooked. I'm mildly against her now.
Casa Creed is the number 3. He is extremely consistent. Early in his career, he was more of a 6.5, 7 furlong type struggle. He got the mile and the 16th. As he's improved for Billy Mott, he can get the mile no problem. He's now won 2 consecutive editions of the 4-Star Dave, including this race. Although in this race, he got a great trip against a weak field.
You're just going to call it flat. The 4-Star Dave weak. Come on. Yes, it was weak.
Well, I guarantee you, one more win in the 4-Star Dave, it's going to be called a Casa Creed.
No, they can't do that to 4-Star Dave. Yes, I'm a big fan of this horse. What a horse.
Yeah.
6 furlongs mile, Grade 1 winner, goes to Saudi Arabia, runs the same race. He's absolutely phenomenal and admirable, but he is taking a huge step up in class. And I know, okay, I actually believe that he could be better at 7 than he's been before, but his Shoemaker Mile here, whenever that was, it was fine, not that great. His Breeders' Cup Mile at Del Mar, not competitive. I know the horse worked great. He looks great. I'm going to be happy if he runs really well. He could be in line for an excellent trip. Love Bill Mott. Love to see him win Breeders' Cup races. I don't think the horse is good enough.
Win Cornelian is the number 4. Nice form in Japan. Some group wins. Very, very speedy. The problem is he's not even the best horse in Japan in this race.
Next.
Wow, number 5 is Lucky Score.
Next.
We're going to watch Lucky Score's last race in the Arctic, where he took advantage of a very fast pace to rally into second behind Turf Sprint Bound. Big Invasion. Marcus is not impressed.
I'm impressed. He's fine. He's a good, solid Group 2 horse.
Beaten 4 lengths by Master of the Seas in the Woodbine Mile. Mauge is up next. Now, I know you're impressed with Mauge, and how can you not be? This horse, of course, is the winner of the 1,000 Guineas, came off the layoff and took him gate to wire at Keeneland last time out. In the Queen Elizabeth II Cup, I think that Lindy is a nice horse that she beat.
Lindy's good. Lindy was second in the French 1,000 Guineas to a very good horse. Lindy's legit. Maybe not for the Filling Mare Turf this year, but she's legit. So here, the great question is, what is Mauge's price going to be? There are guesses all over the map. What's yours?
I think Mauge will be 5 to 1.
Oh, okay. You're on the lower side.
Yes. What do you think?
I couldn't see any lower than that, although I was surprised how much play she got in the QE2. She was much shorter than I expected. I think she's undervalued by Americans at this point.
Yes, I think people are looking at her and saying, well, the QE2, well, it was always a nice race. 3-year-old fillies race. She got on the lead that day and she won. I think with her tactical speed, she's going to be in with a huge chance turning into the stretch. And I think she's still loaded with upside potential.
I mean, I worried about her regressing off that hard race following a comeback, but that's not really how they train. I mean, she's trained to a level, not like to peak and fall apart. And from what I've seen of her here this week, she looks fine. She's a little thing, which is good. Yep. She's a handy little horse with speed for this little bandbox track. I mean, that 1,000 Guineas was run over a tricky course that a lot of horses didn't handle, but she beat an excellent filly in Tahira, and there was a massive gap back to third. This horse was Group 1 placed as a 2-year-old, went through the winter to get more foundation in her. She seems legit to me. Master of Foxhounds is going to be a big price in this race. He's an admirable old campaigner that, he tries hard at longer distances, which I think personally are better for him. At a mile, I think it's a little bit sharp, and he's going to be outrun early. He was wired last time out. He tried hard, but more often than not, always a bridesmaid, rarely a bride. Yeah, I couldn't back him.
Number 8 in here is Du Jour for trainer Bob Baffert, who I thought got the trip in the Del Mar Mile. That was a race where if you go back and watch it, we're going to watch it right now, Du Jour getting the job done over Exalted. There were some trips behind him, and I think Du Jour got one of the better ones.
Yeah, but I do give him credit because he's got a nice turn of foot at his best. He can really kick home. And part of getting that trip is being able to get through the spots and when you need to. And my stupid superficial view at first was, oh, maybe he likes Del Mar. But then if you go back, he's run well at Santa Anita. Of the Californians, I would definitely prefer him. But I don't think that any of them are quite good enough. Astronomer is one of the Californians, a horse that will be a pace presence in this race, as he was last time out in the City of Hope Mile, a race where I
could not find an excuse for him losing, although Hong Kong Harry is a good horse.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, good luck to him.
Let's talk about Songline, who's going to take some play in here from Japan. He won the very prestigious Yasuda Kinen 2 starts back, and then he just missed last time out against some good horses. This is a mare who is just very, very solid, and is at a mile is probably the horse to beat.
I'd say she's more than solid. She's Japan's best miler.
Yeah.
She's won 2 of the best, well, there are only a few older horse miles in Japan anyway. Schnellmeister is very close to her, and he probably ran better than she did last time, but that was just a prep. You know, I'm going to reiterate what I've been saying all along, which is, for me, the big concern is she cannot win this race if she runs like she's been running in her Japanese miles. She's got an extra, like, full furlong and a half home stretch there to get her kick going. She doesn't have an instantaneous turn of foot. She doesn't have that push button acceleration. She's more of a wind up and get up to top speed horse coming from way back. I mean, granted, she's had to navigate massive fields, so she's familiar with that. But on this little course with that short home stretch, if she's 10 lengths behind at the top of the stretch, I don't see her getting there. If she can be handier, which she has done one time that I can see in the 1-3-5-1 turf sprint in February or January 2022 in Saudi Arabia, if she could get that kind of trip, then her class could win out.
But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Are they really going to change?
They said they are.
Cup mile? Really? They're going to change? Well, we'll see if she's handy enough, because the pace doesn't figure to be blazing, and if she can stay close, we know she kicks in the stretch.
Fabulous horse.
Kalina is up next. It wasn't the ground last time out in the Prix de la Forêt. I was very impressed visually with what I saw. She tucked in between horses. She was traveling very sweetly inside the 2. She altered course inside, and she beat a pretty good horse in Kinross.
Very good
maybe
horse.
7 Kinross a little too far for him.
No, not at all. That's his race.
Okay.
The Prix de la Forêt is his race. They only run him shorter if the ground is heavy, because then his stamina over a sprint distance can shine.
Right.
So in Europe, he's a 7/8 horse. Like, that's his wheelhouse. America, he's a miler. I mean, he had a bad trip in the Breeders' Cup Mile, ran 3rd last year. And I've said before, that was not like just cross the S off on the GS for Arc Day. That was fast ground, and that is what Kalina needs.
Yes.
Easily her 2 biggest races, as I'm sure you know, are the Prix Sandringham and the Prix de la Forêt. She's showed some ability from the start. The way she ran, I mean, that's a legit win over Kinross. If she can improve upon that repeated, I think she's going to be she's going to be competitive. My concerns are that she's just kind of come up to this point. That was a peak. Does she have it in her to repeat it under completely different conditions and with an outside draw?
Are you also concerned that she has a tendency to pull in the early portion of her races sometimes, and if she doesn't get cover from this outside post, it could work against her?
She'll need cover, but she'll probably get cover. But what will help her is that they'll probably be going a faster pace than she's used to. So when horses are more naturally outrun like that, it can help them settle. Exalted
had a 4-race win streak snapped in the Del Mar Mile, a race we showed you before. His tactical speed put him in a good spot, but then the trip didn't exactly work out.
He's a nice horse. I mean, he's the kind of horse who's going to be, 30-1?
Oh, yeah.
And he's consistent. He runs his race. He's a professional racehorse who's got talent. I mean, if you wanted to toss him in, toss him in. I don't think that he's good enough even on, if everything falls his way, if he runs his best and several other horses don't, I still have a hard time getting him into the trifecta.
More Than Looks has never raced in a Grade 1 stake before, but this horse does have an extremely strong kick, as we showed last time out in the Jefferson Cup, where the pace was fast, granted, but More Than Looks inhaled those horses in the last 1/8 of a mile. I think this horse is really, really good. We'll see if he's this good, because it is a huge leap up.
Well, it is a huge leap, but you're going to get the right price to find out. I mean, he's going to be every bit of whatever number you want. And yes, I mean, visually and on the clock, that was off the charts. And he had shown signs of that before. I mean, this horse has been showing a lot of talent all along. He hasn't had it together mentally. He got it together mentally. Post 13 could be a rough go. Best horses he's ever seen. But again, the odds are right and the ability is there.
Last, and certainly not least, is the 14 Master of the Seas, 7-2 on the morning line. Winner of the Woodbine Mile, although the Woodbine Mile this year was a very watered-down version of the race. He certainly ran well in the Coolmore Turf Mile. He was just pipped by the best turf horse in North America up to the mark, and he made a first run into a fast pace. Now, I'm not sure if they, switch trips, the outcome is different, but Master of the Seas ran very well. He's in this race in good form. How bad is post 14?
2 for 16 over the last 23 years. Post 13's 1 for 31. Post 12 is slightly better. I mean, it's about what you'd think, like really bad, but not like unovercome. I just tell you my basic rule for post positions. If it's a long shot, don't worry about it.
Absolutely.
Caraconte won the mile from post 14.
Absolutely.
I got off him at 30 to 1. Don't get me started. If it's a short price, then you hold the post against him. This horse is a short price. A, I'm holding against him. B, even though I do have the utmost respect for Up to the Mark, he was coming back for a long break at a distance that might be a little short of his best. So, I'm not saying that, I just think that it wasn't all that like he couldn't beat that horse in that situation. I don't think he could beat the best horses here with a good trip. I don't think he's going to get a good trip. He's also run 3 top races in a row. If you go back to his last race overseas,
that's right.
I don't think he has another one in him. I'm pitching him.
Let's see who you're not pitching. Top pick time, you're going with the giant price, Cheryl Spite on the rail, and why not? He probably could work out a good trip, saving valuable ground in mid-pack, and we know his very best race puts him right there.
There you go. You're in my mind.
That's why they pay me the
and
big
you're
bucks
Kalina?
for, Marcus. I'm going with Kalina in here. I think
Definitely
you made a very
considered,
good point
yeah.
about the firm ground. I'm a little concerned that she's a little bit of a buzz horse here. Maybe takes a little bit too much money. Everybody in the press box talking about Kalina.
Really?
That's what I'm talking about.
I must have been in a different press box
Well,
this
you
week.
had trouble finding the press box thus far this week. But no, Kalina is where I'm going. I'm curious to see if Cherie DeVos' horse is going to fire from the back of the bag and just get a piece of this at a price. A horse I want to use underneath in single race
I
exotics
think you're on a good one
at a
for that.
giant odds. I like where Marcus is going, though, with Cheryl Spite. I'm going with Kalina. We're looking for prices in the Breeders' Cup Mile. Good luck.